Hello.
Hello. Okay,
So, as a kind of summary of the past years, can you tell us how was accepted the first solo album you have done? Were there good response, good sales, and
yeah.
a big movement behind it?
Well, I think the response was very good, but the sales were not big, to be honest. I think it did pretty okay in France and in Finland, but not in every country. But it's also, I don't know how well it was promoted, and at the time I didn't have enough time to give any interviews because I was supposed to be in the rehearsals of Stradivaris at the time. So it was quite okay for the first album, but like I said, it wasn't a huge hit anywhere. I didn't expect anything, but it's okay.
Mhm. Okay. And considering your creative aspect, do you feel still satisfied about this debut now?
Well, I'm never satisfied to anything that I've done, to be honest. I'm always like, oh fuck, I should never have done this. But I mean, that's the way it is. But I also think that, all the albums, they are describing the time when they were composed and when they were recorded. So it's just, if you are like a painter, you paint like, well, this or that painting, you just paint it now, and then you don't go back after 2 years and add some more red. I want to have more red here. That's what it is.
Mm.
So it's stupid to say, like, of course, I mean, Iron Maiden's Peace of Mind, even that album could maybe be done better today, but it shouldn't be touched because that's classic. It should be. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Well,
Okay. So now it's the time of a new CD called Coldness.
mhm.
So how will you introduce it? And maybe considering the name and Waiting for the Dawn was not so positive, I think. Coldness is a bit cold or maybe sad in the meaning.
Yeah.
So is it maybe the same point of view?
Well, to introduce this album, it looks like this.
Look well.
You have to see. Well, it's just. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a big difference compared to Waiting for the Dawn because that was a concert album, and it was just the dream for me once in my life to do a concert album because when I was younger I was listening to a lot of bands, but still my all-time favorite album is Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche, and that's a concert album. So I thought one day I'll do it, and now I did it, and that's passed. It's done. No more, thank you. But this is totally different. Also, well, I don't know if it's different music-wise, if the music is totally different or not. But lyrics, they're totally different. There's no concept, of course. The atmosphere is somehow, a little bit same, almost on all the songs. Not all, but almost on all the songs. It's quite cold, and well, the music was written a year ago, basically, except 2 songs. Evenings Fall and Take Me Away, I tried to offer for this band called Stradivaris, but what a surprise, nobody did listen to those there. So, but everything else I wrote, a year ago. But I was still in the band, and I thought that I will release this album this spring, and of course then I thought I would still be in the band, but I wasn't, I guess. So, but the lyrics were written actually a little bit later, like between August and I even did some lines in the studio last January. So, but the name Coldness, that came actually quite late. First I had this idea that maybe there should be a frozen lake during winter time and night time, because I was born in a very small town where there was less than 5,000 people, and that's by the lake, by a big lake. So I wanted to tell the people how I can feel there, when I was younger, and especially now as well. Let's see, because coffee, because I wrote the lyrics actually by the same lake in a different 2 cottages that I rented. So the other one was my friend, and the other one was by some of my relatives, and of course a lot of people ask me if Coldness, if the songs are just about Stradivaris, and they are not. They are also, because normally I hate talking, I don't want to talk about my personal life, but this time probably I have to, because it's also that I was together with my ex-girlfriend 5 years, and then that ended just few months before all the Stradivarius shit come down, and it's coldness is just how I felt, and I still feel, you know, it's my feelings the last 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So
And yeah, you seem to be still a bit disappointed by the Stradivarius thing. So
well, a little bit of course, but I think that's just normal. Of course, it would sound a little stupid if I would say I'm fucking happy, but I mean of course I'm also relieved and I feel free, etc. But of course, there's been so much shit coming from the other camp, so I don't want to throw any shit back. So it's better just, you know, to do an album and do something else, you know.
do you feel do you think you were a bit stressed during this new CD, knowing that it worked only good in Finland or in France?
With the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, with this one.
Composing this one, do you feel a bit stressed by maybe the little interest in
Well,
general?
not really, because it would have been worse if it would have sold like hell of a lot less, because then I would have had big problems to get this one released. But I talked to the record label that how is it they wanna release it, not they said they wanna release it, and then I thought, okay, I release it. But of course, with this one I'm not I don't believe in miracles. I know that this won't sell like hundreds of thousands anyway, but well, if it sells as much as the last one, then maybe I can do the next one, so maybe, but you never know. So
You are living day after day, maybe by now?
well, I live interview by interview.
So considering the way of writing this time, I think you had a kind of team behind you that you created for the first one. So do you think it's more a band effort this time?
For this one,
Yeah.
definitely. That's exactly why I wanted to have less players on this album, and also I wanted to have more band feeling. I think it is more like a band album, even though, you know, it's just my name there. But when I signed the record contract, of course the record label asked me, so is it gonna be KOTIPELTO or Timo KOTIPELTO, or something else? And then of course at the time I didn't know any band name. I didn't want to have a band called Metal Warriors of the cold northern Finland or something like this, because if you want to have a band name, then it should be something cool, something nice. But I didn't have any idea. But then again, I mean, I don't know. For the next album, it could be if I would find the members. Well, let's put it this way. Of course, it would be my next dream if I could have my own band, even though I would write maybe most of the material. But it would be nice if I could have my own band and all the guys would be there. If I would tell them, okay, touring starts in August, 1 month Europe and blah blah blah. But it would mean that this album should sell like, well, let's say at least 100,000 or 150,000. Then it means that I can pay these guys money that they can live. But with these sales, probably it won't happen. So it's like making compromise, and it's every time anyway. So, but of course you never know. But well, that's the next step, of course. But you never know, you know.
Okay, and having people involved in other bands, do you think it will maybe harder this time to have maybe bigger plans?
Yeah, well, it is difficult. It's very difficult, because my problem is, but in a way it's not a problem. But of course the problem is when you have good friends who are also very good musicians, and I wanted to have those guys on the album. They wanted to play on the album. So of course now it's very difficult for me to say to some of these guys that, hey, I don't want you on the tour because you are busy anyway. It's like, especially Janne Virman, who's playing in Children of Bodom, and of course Mike Romeo and Mirka as well. It's of course I can't tell the guys that you have to play these shows and you can't play with your own band, because I can't pay them enough money anyway. So I have to make a compromise. I was yesterday in Germany and I talked to my booking agency and I asked them, what should I do, because I want to do touring. I want to play clubs everywhere, whatever. And they told me that hey, you have to think about it like this. It's enough if you are there, basically for the fans, because they appreciate if you do the gigs. Then instead, if you would just say, I can't do the gigs because I can't have all the players on the album. But of course, for me personally, it would be important if there would be at least some of the guys from the album. But we'll have to see. I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe next week, how it's gonna be, and then we know. We'll see. I would guess that probably I can't get all the guys from the album, so maybe I have to get somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But who? Don't know. It's very difficult.
And do you imagine to play live without Jane, for example, or maybe Mike? Because I think their sound is kind of characteristic.
Well, it is, but the truth is that I phoned Mike at the end of January, and I asked him if he's interested to play live, and he said, yeah, he is. That just he should know early enough when are the gigs. But then I tried to call him next week again 3 times. I didn't answer, so he's very hard guy to reach. So I thought I'll do it like this. I'll book the tour without knowing anything who's gonna play there, and then I tell the guys this is the tour. Can you be on it or not? If not, then I'll take somebody else. But of course, it would be great to have these guys. But then again, I can't afford just to ask everybody how is it August 15th, would you be available? Then somebody would say, well, not then but a week later. Then I would phone everybody again and ask, what about a week later? Then somebody else would say, I'm not available then because I have to do this show. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult, and it's very stressy as well. So I've decided that I told the booking agents just book the tour, and then we'll see who's gonna be there. Maybe not even me.
So for me the situation is different by now, because the first album could be considered as a kind of game for you, and by now it's still the own thing you have. So do you think that the Stratovarius fans will follow you and your voice through KOTIPELTO?
Of course, I don't know that. And like I said, when I composed the songs a year ago, I was still in the band, so I didn't want to steal anybody. And it's also I don't think anybody should take any sides, that I'm standing behind this guy, I'm standing behind this and this. But of course, if some fans like the album, then that's cool. Mm-hmm. But it's not completely Stratovarius for sure. It's my voice there, and some of the songs might be a little bit similar, but it's also, I think it's more me. It's like combination, Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Okay. So we are very short in time. To end the interview, what will be the last words for you, maybe the more important things to remain thinking about your own work?
Well, at the moment, most important things for me are, of course, now I have a lot of promotion, a lot of interviews, but I do hope that I could do a lot of club shows in Europe, and of course I hope that people would like the album, but if not, then it's okay as well. And when I'm coming close to you, near to your city, come to see the show. Hopefully it will happen. It's difficult to say. It's quite hard to get a European tour these days, but let's see what happens. And then the future is completely open. I only have some plans until closer to the end of the year. Then let's see if there's some bands, that might be interested. So we'll see.
Okay, a message for the fans?
Thanks for the support. See you on the road. Hopefully. Merci beaucoup.